So we're coming in today with a special episode of Vampire the Masquerade since I'm busy this week and we can't do our regular session. The session with Jonathan will be coming next time. So since everyone in the coterie is now living in the same house, I thought it'd be a good idea to give you a little tour of it. And fortunately, we have this document on the Higgins estate. And so yeah, today's update is pretty much going to be Mary reading out the security features, everything like that, and we may come in with...
Which you'll notice if you have listened to Ryan's.
Yeah, this is most pertinent to Ryan's episode, so you may want to rewatch that episode after this and
realize
and laugh
how
at him.
Ryan, and the stupid mistakes that Ryan made. All right, so the Higgins estate, and we have our pictures up.
Yes.
That are going. So it is the house is a brick Tudor revival mansion built by a steel baron and predates the Great Depression.
So the pictures are some images that Mary found of Tudor revival style houses.
In case you, like myself, did not know what a Tudor revival style house was.
I knew.
Yeah. All right, so it's located on a little over an acre of land in the Horace Mann Historical District in Gary, Indiana. And Zach brought up a good point about this earlier. We don't know what sort of water system the Horace Mann Historical District has. And so one possible storyline for the future is Stephen having to defend his water rights in front of a co-op board. Stay tuned for that. The house has been enchanted by Stephen's sire with the ritual Dedicate the Chantry. All warding or defensive rituals cast on the haven itself or one of its rooms have their difficulty reduced by 1. So that includes Defense of the Sacred Haven, I'm told. You're welcome to comment as you pace around behind me. A long gravel driveway approaches the house. The yard is kept in passable but not good condition. That's not good condition. Passable.
Well, I figure you probably would not want... So this is originally based on a document that was made for the original game that we ran years ago, which was set in 1991. I basically took that document and then updated it with 2018 and then some other things that just seemed sensible. Unless you're going to pay for a gardening crew to come in, the garden is tended entirely by Terry.
And he's got
like an acre of land.
Yeah. All right. The area immediately around the house is covered by lights attached to motion sensors. The only way to bypass the motion-activated lights is by moving too slowly to be registered. This requires 5 turns to cross the whole yard with an extended dexterity plus stealth roll difficulty 6 every turn. On a botch, the lights are activated, but on a simple failure, the lights remain off, but no progress was made that turn. There are also black and white cameras observing every approach to the house.
Theoretically, I probably should have made Ryan roll that in order to get to the shed, but at the time, I figured he would kind of skirt the wall and avoid getting near the house itself.
Well, why does he care if the security lights come on?
Well, he was obfuscated, so that indicates to me that he wants to avoid notice in case someone were watching the house, and even obfuscated...
So, question, that is not in this paragraph, that even obfuscated...
It's assumed. Obfuscation does not affect mechanical sensors whatsoever. It explicitly states that in obfuscate.
Because of the whole video thing, the cameras and stuff, catch the real...
So
that's why he's always got the balaclava to cover his face.
And so that is another reason why it's good to have those motion sensor lights, is it will let you know immediately if there's an obfuscated person approaching the house.
So when we looked out the window...
It will also let you know if there is any kind of animal of any kind in the world approaching your house.
But that was when we looked out and the lights went on and we looked out and we didn't see anything. It could have been an obfuscated Slenderman.
Yes.
So it's interesting that, because Slenderman's not a vampire, right?
No.
So apparently obfuscate in other fairy mage creatures.
The other
also.
things to keep in mind is you do know that the entity has an effect on electronic equipment, so his presence could have just caused some kind of short circuit. Once again, it's also possible that any animal in the world of any kind could have set off the motion sensor lights. You're way more likely to get a false positive than a false negative.
But Ryan had his hooju going on.
But he didn't go near the house. He went around to get to the shed.
All right. The house is surrounded by an 8-foot-high stone fence. Climbing the fence requires a strength plus athletics roll, difficulty 6 to boot. And if you listen to Ryan's little story, to break through the wall requires an extended strength roll, difficulty 7, with 12 successes. Why you wouldn't just climb the fence doesn't really... But Zach is prepared for all eventualities.
It's in case, for some reason, it both use strength. So you're really just choosing not to have your athletics apply, to have a higher difficulty, and to need multiple successes.
So Jonathan would have,
Yes, it's for people like Miles, who just want to do things the most roundabout way possible.
All right. Okay, so berry vines and brambles have been planted along the wall, requiring a dexterity plus athletics roll, difficulty 6, and a perception plus alertness roll, difficulty 7, to notice at night. So the dexterity plus athletics roll, difficulty 6, is to jump over the brambles. And it is also a perception plus alertness roll, difficulty 7, to notice the brambles if it's nighttime.
I added in the dexterity plus athletics roll afterwards. In the actual adventure, I called for dexterity plus dodge, but dexterity plus athletics makes a little bit more sense.
Because you're leaping over.
And Ryan didn't require the investigation check because
he knew they were there.
He knew they were already there.
It was actually his suggestion to plant them. The brambles are visible to those attacking during the day and those with augmented vision at any time. Disentangling from the brambles requires an extended dexterity roll, difficulty 4, with 5 successes. Every turn in the brambles inflicts a point of soakable lethal damage. And this is where... Yeah.
And we considered the bizarre possibility that someone could just keep failing to escape, and they may just someday walk out at night to find a dead burglar just in the brambles.
Caught in the brambles. I could ghoulize a few of them, and then they might do that.
Yeah.
All right. The driveway can be accessed through an iron barred gate attached to an intercom which buzzes inside the house. The gate can also be opened by remotes, and both of the 2 cars kept on the estate. Breaking through the gate requires an extended strength roll, difficulty 6, with 6 successes. A black and white camera also watches anyone approaching the gate. So the cameras on the house, it's all the approaches to the house, but they don't necessarily reach to the wall.
No, because you've got like an acre of land, and they're pointed basically at the wall so you could see someone breaking in.
Okay. All right. There is a garden shed built up against the fence on the side farthest away from the wall. The door is kept closed by a small padlock set to a code known by all 3 permanent residents. Again, a very important piece of the puzzle.
Fuck you, Derek and Jonathan.
I love that he had to ask, did Stephen give me the code?
That's a reoccurring theme. There are some things that only Stephen has access to. There are a lot of things that only the 3 permanent residents have access to.
Did Stephen give me the code to this? Oh, all 3 permanent residents of the house have this code, yes.
And there are a lot of things that the 2 moochers that are bunking down there.
They just don't have.
Don't have. And don't know about.
Breaking the padlock is an extended strength roll, difficulty 3, with 5 successes. Inside there's landscaping equipment and supplies that is used to maintain the estate. Further inside, there is also a hidden spot behind some shelving where the wall has been cut out. This space of wall can be pushed free, allowing access into the property immediately behind the estate. This is our escape plan. Finding the hidden wall requires a perception plus 1 investigation roll, difficulty 7, with 2 successes required. Hidden in the floor of the shed is the exit to the escape tunnel. Finding the hatch to the escape tunnel from this end requires a perception plus investigation roll difficulty 6 with 3 successes required.
So that's the end of the escape tunnel. Theoretically, if they had to flee through the tunnel that Ryan used to get in, they would get there, get into the property next door, close
So the
everything
tunnel
behind
goes
them.
from Stephen's lab in the basement out to this shed.
And
so
then
theoretically, somebody could come in the other way. Stephen will deal with that as time goes on.
It's not just a theory anymore. Ryan has proven the theory.
Yes, but he knew where this stuff
That's
was.
true. Someone else would have to break through the padlock, pass the investigation check, and they wouldn't even think to make an investigation check unless they knew there was something up with it.
Right.
So it is very unlikely.
So, the yard is large but not particularly well cared for, as we stated earlier. Even though we've got all the landscape equipment to do so.
It's mostly just a matter of Terry having other things to do with his time.
I need to hire a gardener. Maybe Derek can take over those responsibilities.
That's true.
He's a zoologist.
You really need to start putting these two guys to work.
John above. Derek's going to start hauling some manure. All right. Is it racist?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to cut it out.
Okay.
I'm not actually going to cut it out.
Okay. I apologize. I'm just going to make it worse by keep talking.
Yeah.
I'm shutting up. I'm doing the whole shutting up right now. The yard is
be
large.
like Coolum. Explain how it's not
No.
creepy.
God, no. He just went on, didn't he? He went on, and I'm like, shut up, because you're just making it creepy. As soon as somebody tells you, I'm not creepy, really I'm not, they're creepy. Good Lord.
Are you menstruating?
And he is right. No woman will answer that question. She will stare at you, maybe slap you, and that will be the end of it. Trees are planted alongside the inside of the walls on the 3 sides which border other people's property, not the side of the street, to prevent observation by the neighbors. They might have telescopes as well.
Yeah, that's the thought, is that on the top floor you could have a telescope and then be spying on your neighbors.
Yes, exactly.
Hoping to see a hot woman undressing.
No. Are there any hot guys?
Like, let's face it, you know what that guy in Rear Window was trying to find.
No, Jimmy Stewart was a pervert. I'm with you.
The fact that a murder happened is completely incidental. He was trying to watch a hot woman get naked.
But Stephen would not want to watch a hot woman get naked.
No, but I'm saying your neighbors might. That's why you have the trees planted.
Well, they know it's a house full of boys.
They don't know that.
Oh, because I got the trees planted. They can't see.
Behind every tree, there's the possibility of a naked woman.
Of a naked woman.
Put that on a motivational poster.
You live in an odd reality. All right. The backyard is a space where most of the gardening effort has been expended to turn it into a fine English garden with a gravel walk leading to a small water feature. I like to feel like Stephen helps out occasionally in the garden. I mean, not doing much. He's maybe pulling a few weeds.
He helps out the way I help out in the garden.
Are you standing over too?
Yep.
And bitching?
Yeah.
All right. There's also a small greenhouse in the backyard, but it is currently not in use. Well, Derek needs to be putting that to use. I don't know what we're going to grow in the greenhouse.
Weed.
So you're saying we're... Ooh, could I ghoulize marijuana, and what would that do when people smoked it?
It would probably enhance the potency, I would imagine.
So I could have some serious weed.
Yeah, you would have to get... I don't remember exactly how hard it is to ghoulize plants. I know there's, like, thaumaturgy involved.
Okay, possibility there. Noting that. Currently not in use. I'm gonna do David's thing, and I'm gonna add a suggestion here.
Mm-hmm.
Suggestion.
Bloodweed.
Yeah. Bloodweed. Okay. Alright, I have to fix my document here for just a moment. Alright, so alright, brilliant idea of bloodweed. All right, so there is also a 2-car garage built alongside the house, and the doors are connected to the same remotes that open the front gate. So you hit the button to open the front gate, you hit the button again to... Is it far enough between the two?
They're different buttons.
Oh. So I have the thing...
The front gate button and then the garage button.
With the 2 buttons on it, not just the big, long, single button. All right, okay. Inside is a Mercedes-Benz luxury sedan bought a few years prior and a Porsche. Well, it's a new.
This is out of date. Yeah, right now there's nothing. Very soon there will be a brand new luxury car.
Not bought a few years ago. And a Porsche 964 Carrera 4 sports car, which is over 30 years old but kept in excellent condition. The Mercedes is equipped with a security package with bullet-resistant glass, armor surrounding the car's critical components. This is currently in the process of being done.
Yeah, this is not the case. The security package has not been installed
and run flat in tires. This customization work, however, does make the car slower and harder to handle than normal. Terry was probably just in a fit trying to drive that thing down the road and it handling so much better than he's used to. The car has maneuver 6 and a max speed of 140. A door leads from the garage into the house itself and is fitted with only a cheap deadbolt lock but is attached to the alarm system. Picking the lock is an extended dexterity plus security roll, difficulty 6 with 7 successes required. The garage is fully outfitted with everything necessary for home auto repair and maintenance. The garage also contains a workbench set up for firearms repair and reloading, which is where Terry cares for his weapons and occasionally presses his own bullets. Some exercise equipment and a barbecue is also stored in the garage, which Terry makes use of outside when the weather permits. And Stephen keeps a very expensive but still consumer-grade telescope in the garage as well.
So this also shows that Ryan's concern about making bullets is kind of unfounded because you do have all the equipment necessary to press bullets. There.
Yes.
Now that he has
I love that
the
we're
silver.
just picking apart Ryan's.
Yeah, David's a real just moron idiot.
Because now you have to understand, David has this document. He had the document during his role-playing story. He had access to this document and knew everything in here, and still made the decisions that he did.
So we are going to be bad-mouthing David explicitly throughout the rest of this video.
Mm-hmm.
Also, hey David, I'm glad you're watching. Leave a comment.
There is both a front door and a back door leading into the house. Both are equipped with high-quality deadbolt locks and iron security gates. Forcing the doors sets off the alarm and summons the police, as well as activating a 90-decibel siren. Picking the lock on the security gate is an extended dexterity plus security roll, difficulty 6 with 7 successes required. And a botch will jam the lock, but ripping the gate off requires an extended strength roll, difficulty 6 with 6 successes needed. Picking the lock on the door calls for an extended dexterity plus security roll, difficulty 7 with 9 successes required, and again a botch will jam the lock. Glad Ryan didn't pick any locks. Breaking through
I thought he might.
any of the exterior doors requires an extended strength roll difficulty. I still want to know how Lucy got in my house.
I wonder if that's ever going to be resolved. Ryan just didn't ask, and if he doesn't mention that she was there when he arrived,
Exactly.
there's no way
I'm
to
never
know.
gonna know. Do you have an explanation for why she's in the house?
I do, actually, yes.
Okay.
I know why it happened.
All right.
And I may be the only one who ever learns
I
it.
know, exactly. I'm never gonna know. Why the hell didn't he ask? I guess he was so relieved because he's so stressed because he's alone.
Yeah.
He didn't think to ask. Okay. So where am I at? Breaking through any of the exterior doors requires an extended strength roll, difficulty 4 with 4 successes. Additionally, the front door features a chain and a peephole. Breaking the chain takes an extended strength roll, difficulty 6 with 2 successes, but it can only be made after the door has been opened. So you have to pick the lock, open the door, then bust through the chain.
Yeah.
All right. That'd take a while. All the windows in the house have breakage sensors attached to the alarm system, but those on the first floor additionally feature burglar bars. Ripping free the burglar bars is an extended strength roll, difficulty 6 with 6 successes required, and to jimmy open the window without smashing them takes dexterity plus security roll, difficulty 5 with 5 successes. A botch activates the alarm without opening the window. The window can be smashed without a roll, but requires a dexterity plus dodge roll, difficulty 8, to climb through the window without taking the point of unsoakable lethal damage. The alarm can be spotted on the window with a perception plus alertness roll, difficulty 6. However, the alarm must be accessed inside the house and can be deactivated only with a code known by the 3 permanent... I guess I'd give the code to the other 2, wouldn't I? It just says residents here. Would I? Would I give the code to them? Should we put in the 3 permanent residents?
You should probably put in permanent residents, yeah.
I'll probably get that in there.
Sorry, we're going to take a break from bad-mouthing David to bad-mouthing the other 2. Man, fuck those guys,
Oh,
right?
yeah, no. Oh. I might eventually give it to Derek, but...
but not to Jonathan. Hey, Miles, leave a comment.
I feel like we all still hate Jonathan from the previous Chronicle. It's like, I know it's a reboot and we're not supposed to, but we all still viscerally hate Jonathan.
Guys, I could have handled it.
As you're staked in a pit.
And Steven flies over your staked form, waves his balls at you, and says, "It looks like you can handle it." We should have been recording the old game.
Oh my god. Well, then we would have got that. Oh, well, that was the Dragomir one. Should we tell him that? Oh my goodness. Okay. So, where was I at? I put in the 3 permanent residents, or with specialized tools and extended wits plus computer roll, difficulty 8 with 10 successes required. A botch will short-circuit the system and set off the alarm. Beyond other stated features, every room in the house has a smoke alarm attached to a sprinkler system. Because we are up to code.
And of all the things that a vampire would be paranoid about, I gotta imagine a house fire is probably top of the list.
True. Alright. So that's how you get into my house.
Alright, guys, we're like 15 minutes in. We've gotten through the front door.
We've gotten through we've climbed the wall, walked across the yard.
Slowly.
Slowly, because we don't want to set off the sensors. We picked the lock on the door, gotten inside, and here we are on the first floor.
Any aspiring architects out there watching the video, make a floor plan of this place. That's your challenge.
Okay. Next to the front door is a very spacious walk-in cloakroom. Inside there are a number of coats, boots, and other cold winter gear for each of the 3 permanent residents. Jonathan and Derek just have to go without. Additionally, there is also a very large and well-worn greatcoat. This was the coat given to Stephen's father in the army during the Great War. That would be World War I. In the right-hand pocket is a loaded Sykes M40 handgun, and in the left-hand pocket is a wooden stake. The coat is kept there so that the gear may be retrieved if a resident is unarmed when greeting a guest. I don't know when Stephen would ever... if we ever greeted a guest, we would be freaked out because nobody comes to Stephen's Haven. And anticipates the need for a weapon. They can be acquired while under the pretense of putting away the guest's coat. Which I don't know. We would just open fire on the guest that came around.
The main reason behind that is that a lot of your weapons are actually so bulky, you can only hide them under a jacket, which you're probably not wearing around the house.
Okay.
So, the sights is actually small enough that it can be hidden in a pocket. So if you're going to the door, you probably don't have all your weapons on you. They would be obvious.
Okay.
So if you're trying to lure someone in, you
I
can
guess
go
this is for when for when this estate becomes the chantry. This will come in handy.
And the most surprising things come in handy. At some point, I'm sure you're going to want that small handgun.
Oh, I have no doubt you're working it in somehow. All right. The sitting room. The sitting room features hardwood floors, exposed ceiling beams, and a large gas fireplace. Large windows look out onto the backyard, which is the most well-kept part of the grounds for exactly this reason. The room has comfortable velvet furnishings and is also equipped with a stereo system which can play both CDs and audio cassettes, which was new the last time the entire house was refurbished a couple of decades ago. Over the fireplace is a newish flat screen TV hooked up to digital cable. There is a small drinks cabinet with one bottle of the most common types of spirits, but most of the alcohol in the house is kept in the billiards room on the second floor. That's where we keep the good stuff.
Yeah, it's only a small drinks cabinet down there. Probably with.
I suppose Modius ever comes to visit me. I always go to visit him, don't I?
Yeah. Probably also, in addition to the spirits, probably have one of those like small barrels of what kind of wine is that? Port that you keep in the.
And I keep in the little barrel. Yes.
Probably one of them as well.
Okay. Stephen's British. He'd probably drink sherry.
Yeah.
Probably and port as well. Maybe have a little bottle of sherry and the barrel of port. Anyway, so the kitchen is only ever used by Terry, but still, I noticed you have regardless in here, not irregardless.
All right, well, that's enough of that. Continue.
All right. The kitchen is only ever used by Terry, but regardless, it features all the modern gadgets as it was the most recent room to have been remodeled. The stove runs on natural gas. The refrigerator is filled with normal, not weird food, apparently. Terry's very normal but easy to make foods and drinks. It is all.
Well, you could be storing blood in the refrigerator.
Okay. It's normal, but so I guess blood is still easy to make. All right. It's all for Terry, and he's no master cook. The back door of the house leads into the kitchen. There's also an entrance into a below-ground pantry, which has an industrial-sized freezer, which is currently empty. Note: perfect for hiding bodies.
That is something that David added to the document.
I am checking this freezer regularly to see what Ryan has put in there.
It's probably not kept plugged in, but there is definitely a plug there for it that you could use in case you want to prevent
Stephen and Terry
a body's decay.
Stephen and Terry just regularly go down and check to make sure that.
You wouldn't know how long it's been because it won't decay in a freezer.
Mm-hmm.
It's perfect.
Well, why don't we just dissolve the body in lime, then it can never be discovered?
Yeah, but maybe you need it to be discovered for some reason. Maybe you're trying to frame someone, and altering the time of death helps you.
All right. I'm just going to remember I have a large industrial-sized freezer.
You could also use it to store blood, of course.
Enough non-perishable foods are stored in the pantry to sustain a single mortal for a few months, along with a sizable wine collection, which could sustain a single mortal for a few months, and the highest quality wines are all reds. So if we all die, David's okay, or Terry's okay for a few months.
Yeah. And he's got several $1,000s.
And he's got the go bag.
So.
Terry's fine.
Terry will be okay.
Terry's gonna kill us all and run off. Alright.
He's not running anywhere carrying 3 months worth of food on his back.
He's just gonna pack it all into the Camry.
He's just gonna hide you in the freezer.
Yeah, I'm gonna be staked in a freezer. Alright, the utility room contains the fuse box as well as the furnace, hot water tank, the washer, and the dryer. The utility room contains the door leading to the garage as well as the entrance into the basement. This room also has the Wi-Fi router for the house, which has a 300 megabit per second download and a 20 megabit per second upload speed. The internet is bundled with the cable and the lines run underground. Finally, the room has a 20 kilowatt generator, which automatically activates if the power is turned off. The generator, furnace, and hot water tank are all run on natural gas, and Dell's support assistant decided I really needed to do this right now. Get out of my way. All right, fine. The generator, furnace, and hot water tank are all run on natural gas. A fire extinguisher is kept in this room. All right. The dining room is large and also features a gas fireplace. The heavy oak table can comfortably seat 8 and more if pressed. Again, we never have guests. And none of us eat except Terry, so Terry is sitting alone.
At this table for 8 people, yes.
This table for 8 people. What a sad, sad thing.
There are at least 5 people that could use the table. And to be fair, it's a big table, so if you want to plan something, you could roll out a big map on it and then look there.
I just now have this image of Terry sitting alone eating his microwaved frozen dinner. And I'm just sad. And yet laughing at the same time.
Not that lonely. I mean, the house is actually pretty packed.
Yes, but he's the only mortal.
There are like 5 people living there.
All the dishes and silverware are antiques inherited.
During the day, it is pretty sad. He is just sitting there alone. Everyone else is asleep. It's like in The Sims, when you have the one guy whose job is to make a meal for everyone, but he gets up before everyone else and starts eating while they're still recharging their energy. So he's just sitting there alone.
Yeah.
While everyone else sleeps, eating.
And that guy is named Terry.
Yeah.
Wow. Alright. All the dishes and silverware are antiques inherited from Stephen's family and are very expensive. The utensils are all genuine silver. So he's lonely, but he's eating on nice china.
Well, actually, to be fair, he probably isn't allowed to use the fine china. He's got like a cheap Walmart plate that they keep in the kitchen.
He's eating on paper plates with plastic forks. Over the fireplace is a double-barreled hunting shotgun.
By the way, the genuine silver, that's another thing that David forgot about when he was looking for silver to melt down.
Mm-hmm. Thank goodness that is my family heirloom.
That's
Thank you very
point.
much.
I imagine there would have been quite a row when Stephen got back.
Yes, there would have been.
Obviously, we could use Grandma Ma's fork to kill a werewolf.
Well, we could just stab him with the fork.
That's true. So, in desperate times when werewolves attack, get to the dining room.
Some of them butter knives are still pretty sharp.
Yeah. I mean, if you have potence, it doesn't matter how sharp it is. You can jam an implement into someone's body pretty well.
So let's just, cool our jets on the whole melting things down into bullets. All right. So over the fireplace is a double-barreled hunting shotgun, but it is generally kept unloaded, and the suggestion is to keep some ammo hidden nearby, which we will do.
As I understand, yes, that suggestion has been taken by it under a majority vote of the 3 permanent residents of the house. It has been decided.
Yes, that is a good idea, Ryan.
That will occur. Are you still keeping the shotgun unloaded, or are you going to keep bullets in it while it's stored there?
I think we should keep it unloaded. Since it is on display, a guest could grab it as well. I would rather it be unloaded.
All right, unloaded.
In the rare occasion we have a guest werewolf.
The best part of this is that because we're reading all this out, there are a hell of a lot of Chekhov's guns around this place.
Yes.
This is like Chekhov's armory. We're mentioning all the guns.
It's Mad Molotov right here. All right, so the home theater. The house features a large home theater with soundproofed walls. Inside are overstuffed leather furnishings. This is where Jonathan is sleeping.
Yes.
as well as a projector and an expensive surround sound system with a subwoofer. Attached to the projector are a Super VHS, a beta tape player, and a laser disc player. The walls are decorated with classic Hollywood movie posters, with a particular emphasis on the more dashing male stars. The prizes of the poster collection, however, are the original advertisements for Dracula starring Bela Lugosi and for Nosferatu starring Max Schreck. Needless to say, both films are in the collections for all three of the available movie formats. Do we also have Plan 9?
I imagine so.
I assume Stephen is a Bela Lugosi fan.
I mean, yeah.
You know?
He's not really in that movie, aside from...
Well, from the one time.
Aside from the scene where he walks into the street, and then that other random shot they had of him by the side of the road, where he puts up his hands.
The two shots that he got before he died. No.
I don't think he speaks a word in the movie.
No, he does not speak in the movie. And then I believe Ed Wife's dentist replaced him.
I don't know. I know he's significantly taller.
The significantly taller, completely different man who then walks around with the cape over his face. Brilliant. Brilliant movie making. All right. So the bathroom. The downstairs has a full bathroom, but it contains no bathtub, only a shower stall.
See, the real way that Lucy got in was you weren't especially nice, so Terry didn't lock the side door.
Oh, I wasn't especially nice, so Terry didn't lock the side door. This bathroom and all the others in the house have a locking door which can be knocked down with a strength roll of difficulty 2 with 2 successes required. All right.
Now we step up the staircase onto the second floor.
Okay. So here we are. We're on the second floor. We've now walked up the stairs. And we hit Ryan's bedroom. Okay. Ryan's bedroom is the smallest bedroom in the house. It has only a twin-sized waterbed with a bedspread decorated with planets and stars, and it was obviously intended to be used by a child. It does, however, have the benefit of being surrounded entirely by interior walls, so there is no chance of any accidental light leakage, unless somebody busts through these walls.
Yeah. Even in that case, it would be like interior hallways around it. So you basically have to tear the house down before light comes into Ryan's bedroom. He's basically in the center of the house.
Okay. All right. The ammo for Ryan's guns...
By the time his room is exposed to sunlight, everyone has bigger problems.
The ammo for Ryan's guns is kept here.
And we have established that the shotgun ammo, I think it probably is still mentioned in the document being in Stephen's office, but yes. As we said, it has been moved into partially in the dining room and then partially in Ryan's room now that he has his own sawn-off shotgun.
The room has been decorated to Ryan's own bizarre taste. The roof and walls are painted black and have glow-in-the-dark fluorescent stars pasted all over them. This was actually done by the previous child resident, and to date, Ryan has not removed them. So these are the additions that David
These are the specific things that David has requested
for his
since gameplay has begun.
Okay. So a large Union Jack hangs vertically on the wall above the head of Ryan's bed. Hanging on the wall along the side of the bed are an old-fashioned Mercator map of the British Isles pre-Anglo-Irish War, a Star of David, which is a common symbol for the 6 counties in Northern Ireland, and a sheet of A4 paper with ominous-looking scribbles and drawings that make little to no sense to anyone else. There will most likely be a new drawing put up every time anyone else visits Ryan's room, which we don't do, generally. That has been established with Zach, that Stephen and Terry give Ryan's room a wide berth.
I think another thing that was established in gameplay is that although it's like a flimsy interior door, he has put in
like 9 locks.
He has put in a ton of padlocks along it.
Mm-hmm. And chain and the thing. So like every type of lock that can be known is on Ryan's bedroom door. All right, so in addition to this, Ryan has also hidden a pocket knife underneath his pillow, which he, of course, keeps retracted so as not to burst the waterbed. Very important to note that Ryan sleeps on a waterbed.
Obviously.
So the pocket knife can be quickly grabbed from the lying position. Ryan also never sleeps without his quarterstaff in his arms and his Desert Eagle, unless well, I guess he didn't fall asleep with Lucy. I'm wondering how that would have worked with Lucy next to him. But
the quarterstaff was at the foot of the bed.
Yeah, but the Desert Eagle, fully loaded, holstered around his waist, was not.
No.
He always makes use of whatever lock with which the bedroom door is equipped, and he has since updated that to be the various string of locks. As many locks as his money can buy, is how he said. He also moves his bed firmly pressed against the door before sleeping every day. On the outside of the bedroom door, he has glued a small sheet of paper which reads, "Trespassers will be shot," and then underneath that, in Irish, he has written, "Trespassers will be shot," and I'm not going to even attempt the slurry of letters that is there. I don't know. Zach, do you want to?
It's Kirfair Yahaig Ar Fuglai.
The guy, if you were in Japanese.
Yeah. That was also racist. I'm putting that up too.
Needless to say, he expects Terry and Stephen to knock and ask him politely to come out when they want him. Now, this is where I made it clear that neither Stephen nor Terry would ever knock on Ryan's door. We would simply call from the hallway, "Ryan, get your ass out here." Terry's bedroom. This is a more recent addition to the house and is built over the garage. It's quite spacious, but also doubles as the home gym and stores Terry exercise equipment only suitable for indoor use. Now, Terry is the only one who needs exercise equipment because the rest of us are vampires.
Yep.
So we are stuck with whatever body we had when we were embraced.
You can get stronger and stuff, but that's all based on, like, blood potency.
But we don't
your
suddenly
physical,
gain 6 packs. Or
even
anything.
if you were to gain points of strength, your muscle mass would not change.
Okay. Its decor is quite Spartan, aside from Terry's very expensive ergonomic full-sized mattress, so he can get a good day's sleep or night's sleep or whenever he goes to sleep. And the 720p flat-screen television, which had once graced the sitting room before being replaced by one capable of 1280p. I mentioned that this was mainly to watch gay porn, but Zach assured me that Terry watches CNN. And what else?
ESPN.
ESPN, because he likes sports. Okay. There are a number of windows overlooking the gate and driveway leading to the house. The room also functions as Terry's office.
I mean, he's also up late a lot and smokes weed, so I gotta imagine he watches Adult Swim on Cartoon Network, like, a lot.
Okay. This is just a whole new side of Terry that I'm seeing.
Yeah.
The room also functions as Terry's office, and the security cameras and gate intercom both connect to his computer here. The computer has the most expensive consumer firewall available, but that will be upgraded once I get technophometry. But necessarily has a constant internet connection. The ammo for Terry's guns is kept here along with another fire extinguisher. When the bathroom was added, when the bedroom was added, so was a half bathroom connected to it. So at least Terry's got a toilet, and he can shit in privacy.
Yep.
I am collecting his urine because I need to make white phosphorus.
A private shit.
So he needs to pee in a bucket.
He's the only one who uses the toilet. So.
any ship would be a private jet because
It's really just
none
convenient
of
to
us
have
would.
one right next to his office.
That's true. But I still want him peeing in a bucket so I can.
And so that he could use the bathroom while someone is taking a shower.
Not me. I'll be soaking in my tub.
Yeah, but there are like 4 other people who are.
Do vampires need to take showers?
You don't need to. It's nice.
Do vampires begin to smell?
Well, you wouldn't produce a lot of the things that cause smell. Like you don't have sweat, so there wouldn't be body odor. But if you were somewhere like a sewer and the smell got into your clothes and things, it could get in your hair. So yeah,
We need to wash it out.
there is less pressing need for it than a human, but there are
I
still
just figure
times.
Stephen regularly bathes just because.
Yeah.
It's a habit.
Also, it's nice to shower. It's warm. It's the only way that a vampire could really raise their body temperature, at least easily.
Get ourselves flushed. Bring that vitae to the surface of the skin.
Pretty much.
All right. So now the billiards room. The second floor has a large billiards room. In addition to the billiards table, how good are Stephen and Terry at billiards?
Well, neither of you possess the billiards skill, so it's based pretty much.
Is there seriously a skill? Because I am so totally buying that.
I mean, everything. There are secondary skills for everything.
Holy cow! I am so totally getting
right now, it would be on a mixture of your intelligence for the angling of the shot, and then your dexterity to make the shot.
So that'd be a weird roll.
Well, it would be two separate rolls.
Separate rolls.
Yeah.
So it would be intelligence plus billiards, dexterity plus billiards.
And you would really, you need to make the intelligence roll first, because if don't have your angles right, it doesn't matter how well you hit it.
Exactly.
But then the dexterity is the actual act of you going through with it.
All right, so noted, getting the billiards skill. And I really think Terry should, bulk up on his cooking. Because I enjoyed that little tete-a-tete in the library with Jonathan and the fondue.
That was only like half canon. Really, Jonathan doesn't have eat food, so.
That's true. He couldn't have tasted anything. He would have immediately vomited it back up.
Unless he spent a shit ton of willpower.
All right. In addition to the billiards table, there is a card table and a number of board games kept in a closet, and more than enough room that it could also be used to facilitate a poker or Dungeons and Dragons game. What kind of board games do we have? Do we have Arkham Horror? I can't imagine we've got, do we have Trivial Pursuit?
Yeah,
what do we have? Categories?
Like Trivial Pursuit. I'm sure you have Pictionary.
I cannot picture Stephen playing board games.
Monopoly.
This is a Terry Jonathan Ryan thing, isn't it?
I don't know. I mean, if you think about it, before there was television, what else did you do with your time?
There's been television most of Stephen's life.
Yeah.
And all of Ryan's life, unless he's older than we think he is.
Well, chess is also a board game.
Okay.
Backgammon is a board game.
Okay, chess. Okay, I could see Stephen doing those. I just can't imagine Stephen, jumping up yelling Yahtzee!
Go is a board game.
The room is decorated in a mixed safari colonial style. I have no idea why. And features the taxidermized animals Stephen's father collected on his hunting expeditions across the old British Empire, as well as the Higgins family's accumulated medals and honors granted by the crown. So I get the idea that Stephen's father was this pompous old British asshole that ran around killing endangered animals and trying to pretend he was a hero.
He was a member of the House of Lords.
Was he?
Yeah.
All right. Now, what is my relationship with my father?
That's kind of up to you.
I'll have to think about that.
I just had some basic elements sketched out.
I really get the idea that this guy was just a pompous ass. I feel like we weren't close, but possibly that's because my own father and I aren't close. But I have no idea how to do a close family thing. Did Stephen go with his father on these hunting expeditions?
Possibly. Obviously, he knows how to shoot.
I thought I learned that in the military.
Well, I mean, you have like 3 dots. That's a little bit better than... You weren't in the military that long. Well, you were in the military that long. You weren't shooting for very long.
And I didn't do rifles. I was a courier, wasn't I? I
You
wasn't
were an
like
officer.
a sniper. But I wasn't like a sniper.
No, you were.
And yet I know how to shoot a rifle. So
Yeah.
that would assume that I went on hunting expeditions with my father.
Yeah.
And probably killed half of these dead animals in the why on earth would we taxidermize them? So Zach has stated that there is a full-size taxidermized bear in standing position with paws outstretched in this room.
Yeah, that was one thing that I did insist on being there, because taxidermy bears are pretty cool.
And I truly do believe it should be a polar bear, just to be truly offensive. And then at its feet will be a clubbed baby seal.
Yeah, what it's not stated is that in those pictures, Stephen's father is standing on top of the beaten down Africans that he's oppressing.
This is what I feel it is. I feel I've got my foot on the neck of an African tribesman or something. It's bad.
Well, I hate to say it, Mary, but you know the British Empire wasn't
but
really...
next to all of these trophies are also the medals and honors granted to us by the Crown.
Yeah.
Oh, our family is so great.
I mean, because when you think of the British Empire, you think of World War II and fighting the Nazis. You assume they were the good guys, but the British Empire was actually a pretty evil institution for its entire existence.
They were actually quite awful. And that's not, when you say British Empire, see, I think of Britain as its own, its empire was gone by the time of World War II.
No, the empire was absolutely still around in World War II. They owned earned most of the world at World War II.
But
they had more than that. They had holdings in South America. They had holdings all over Africa. They had holdings in Southeast Asia. But it was after World War II the empire broke up.
They had lost America, which is the only thing that was really important.
Yeah, the only colonies that they had lost by that point was America, and then they lost Ireland during the First World War. But the empire was absolutely still intact.
All right. Okay.
If you ever looked at who owned the world at the start of World War II, it's amazing that England had such a problem with Germany.
But that's not what I think of when I think of the British Empire. I think of earlier than that.
No, everyone thinks of, British Empire was great. Nope, it wasn't.
No, and I never thought the British Empire was great. But maybe I've read more history than most people. I don't know. Anyway, so music is provided by a small stereo connected to an 8-track player on which we play Jefferson Starship and REO Speedwagon. The room also features an extremely well-provisioned bar, which has all the necessary ingredients to mix almost any alcoholic beverage imaginable. So if somebody comes in, again, these non-existent guests, which never arrive at my house, I can mix them a drink.
Yeah, and for Terry.
So Terry just gets sauced every time.
Yeah, that's in the workup I have for him, and it's in the workup I gave to Coolin.
He's a drunkard. Well, he came up with a plan to get virgin menstrual blood. So, I guess he's a functioning alcoholic.
Oh, he's functioning.
All right. The games room. The games room is located just off the billiards room and has been essentially turned over to Ryan and Terry, although Stephen has a few of his classic arcade cabinets stored in the room. The decor is more modern than any other room in the house and is decorated in advertisements for alcohol and marijuana. Are there actually advertisements for marijuana ever produced?
I mean, today, yes. Advertisements probably isn't the best word for it, but it is memorabilia related to them.
Okay, so alcohol can only be advertised in print?
Well, there are advertisements for it. Neon beer signs, things like that.
Okay.
It's not like advertisements.
It's not like the Marlboro Man.
No. I'm thinking, yeah.
All right. The decor is more modern, as well as video game and rock memorabilia. The room has a top-end Alienware gaming PC, as well as another older computer that still runs Windows 3.1 for Terry's full-motion video games, especially his favorite, narrated by Christopher
It's not
Walken.
narrated.
Oh, well, he plays one of the guys, right?
Christopher Walken plays in a number of FMV games.
Why would that be?
I don't
Like,
know.
in the 80s, did he just, like, have nothing to do?
He's an artist.
Okay, that doesn't explain why he's in the full-motion video games.
He's an artist, and Windows 3.1 is his canvas.
I have a hard time believing that. Okay, so both have internet connections, but neither has any files or programs other than those used for entertainment. There's no hacking in through these consoles. There is a 4K 3D TV, and attached to the television is Terry's Xbox One and Switch, as well as Ryan's Nintendo 64 with a disc drive, with Majora's Mask, golden copy or whatever it is.
Well,
always in the 64.
Yeah, well, actually, I haven't fully discussed this with Ryan, but I assume there are probably multiple copies of Majora's Mask.
Mm-hmm.
Really, just from my own experience knowing what would be best, I'm sure we're pretty much agreed on this. You have at least one copy gold box, gold cart, which is still completely boxed in shrink wrap, with everything in mint condition. Another version, probably without the gold card, again, shrink wrap, mint condition. Then a gold card version to actually play on, as well as probably an edition of the game in Japanese as well for the differences between them, including the time cycle where it says last and final on the two different versions on the third day. And the fact that in the Japanese version, you can't save at the owl statues.
So this has all been purchased with Ryan's own money?
It's been acquired.
Okay. Through thievery.
It's important.
Through thievery or other nefarious means. So he's got this Nintendo 64 with the Majora's Mask, with one of his several copies of Majora's Mask, with the disc drive, and the Sega Dreamcast to play Sonic on, the original Sonic.
Sonic Adventure, Sonic Adventure 2.
Yes, the
good
Sonics.
Phantasy Star Online.
This room is also equipped with a top-of-the-line stereo system, and this is the only place you can play CDs. No, I guess we can play them downstairs.
Yeah.
But this also allows him to hook up his iPod.
Yeah.
Whereas the one downstairs does not. So this is where Terry stores his hard rock music collection. Against one of the back walls are arcade cabinets for Ms. Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, Hubert, Space Invaders, and Frogger. Finally, this is also where Terry stores his bong and pipe collection, and there is always about 1/8 of an ounce of marijuana stored here. So you're going to have that thing. Not suitable for some viewers, because we talked about drugs, and that's that.
YouTube doesn't know what to make of our advertising.
We're just a hodgepodge. The library is built on the 2nd and 3rd floors. So there's 4 floors. There's a basement, a 1st floor, a 2nd floor, and a 3rd floor.
And an attic.
And an attic. Okay.
So really there are 5 floors.
Holy cow. These houses are only built in like the eastern part of America. Like you don't see these kinds of houses in the western part of America.
No, not
because
usually.
we're much newer. But when I lived in Pennsylvania, there were many stores which had these like attics and 2nd and 1st and basements, and I'm like, how many? They had enormous numbers of floors. It was amazing. All right. So the library is built on both the 2nd and 3rd floors with a spiral staircase running between the 2 levels. It is absolutely crammed with books of all types, most mundane, but a few magical in nature. There is a large collection of English literature, collected by Stephen's father and grandfather, including a number of expensive first editions. Of course, every work of William Shakespeare is available. There are also a number of counterculture books Stephen acquired while working as a professor for the University of Chicago during the 60s and 70s, including a first edition of the Anarchist's Cookbook, the complete works of Karl Marx, Industrial Society and Its Future by Ted Kaczynski, and a very well-read and dog-eared copy of On the Road by Jack Kerouac. The computer in the home office contains a database of every book in the library for quick reference. Every wall is covered in bookshelves aside from where a terrace looks out onto the driveway on the lower floor and where a small fireplace is located on the upper floor. Next to the fireplace, a pair of very comfortable Victorian-era armchairs, part of the original Higgins estate in England, as well as a record player and Stephen's vinyl collection. So Ryan's choice to sleep in Stephen's bedroom, it would have been almost better for him to sleep in the library.
Well, except for the window.
Yeah, that's true. But there are windows in Stephen's room as well, aren't there?
Yeah, those are fitted with drapes, though, to keep the light out.
All right, but pretty much any other place in the house would have been a better choice.
Most other places would have had more security, yes.
Than Stephen's bedroom. All right, so we walk up the staircase again to the third floor.
The highest major floor.
Yes, and the only thing on top of this is the attic. So here is the master bedroom, and this is Stephen's. And this is where Ryan chose to protect his love, Lucy, is in Stephen's bedroom. It features a walk-in closet and a small balcony which overlooks the backyard. The balcony has French doors, but also very heavy curtains. The bed is a 4-poster, king-sized. This is really why this is where Lucy went, because she's like, oh, the most comfortable bed.
Well, it's not ergonomic like Terry's is. But again, windows.
But she's a Toreador and wouldn't think to go into the apartment above the garage because she's too froofy. All right, so we got a 4-poster, king-sized, with draping curtains for extra protection against the sunlight. The master bedroom has a lock on the door, which can be kicked down with the strength roll of difficulty 2 and 2 successes. That's a difficulty of 2 with 2 successes. So pretty much anybody, Stephen could kick, Jonathan could kick down this door.
Jonathan could.
Well, he'd just have to kick it a few times.
Yes, on his second one, he could make it.
He could do it. Breaking through the French doors requires the same check, but also requires a dexterity plus dodge, difficulty 4, to pass through without taking a point of unsoakable lethal damage. The room is fully outfitted with everything necessary to perform the ritual defense of the sacred haven. Now,
so these were the symbols that I mentioned. In David's defense, that was added later, after the episode.
So his version of the document only had that there are sigils painted on the walls.
Yes.
It did not have what those sigils were for, but we find out here that those sigils were simply to help Stephen perform defense of the sacred haven, which only blocks out sunlight.
And nothing else.
And nothing else. Does not reinforce any doors, does not ward anything off. Stephen, obviously being a novice, doesn't have any warding rituals yet. He will be getting some soon, and his bedroom will be upgraded. But at the time, Stephen is not the grand wizard that everybody seems to think he is. Again, holdover from the previous chronicle.
He does currently only have 2 dots in thaumaturgy.
So we're working on that, but it's really hard to gain experience points because Zach is very stingy. All right, so Ryan and Lucy decide to protect themselves by sleeping in Stephen's room, which was completely not. And to go on, previously, when there was danger, when Stephen believed that there was danger outside the house, he told everyone to go down to his lab. Stephen did not tell everyone to come into his bedroom.
As I recall, David's thinking was that he already knew the basement didn't work. or at least believed it didn't. Although, to be
Okay.
fair, we don't know when Jonathan disappeared
Yeah, I was
exactly.
gonna say, we don't know when he disappeared.
So, he was as he was passing through the doorway.
But Stephen the Tremere knew his bedroom was not safe.
It was very picturesque when they were having sex on the bed, though. It was
That's
a nice.
fabulous. That's fabulous.
It was a very aesthetically appropriate bed for them to have sex for the first time on.
And we have established that Stephen would change the sheets on his bed since his sire is coming home with him. When he changes the sheets upon the bed, he will notice the crusty, dried vaginal secretions of Lucy. Do I have to make a roll for that?
Yeah.
I'll have to make a roll for that. But should he notice those, he will have vitae from Lucy for sympathetic magic later on. Although he won't necessarily know it will be either Ryan or Lucy.
Either way, spells.
He is Tremere. He will take note. All right, so connected to the master bedroom is the master bath. This room has no windows and can be closed and locked in the event of an emergency daylight raid on the house. There is no shower, but there is an antique clawfoot bathtub where Stephen lounges and soaks. The guest bedroom. This is where Derek is currently
yes.
Currently sleeping. This is Derek's current bedroom.
Also, when Stephen's sire comes to stay, she obviously takes the master bedroom, and this is where Stephen is moved to.
So Derek will
very soon be with Jonathan in the home theater.
Sleeping on the overstuffed leather armchairs. So the house does have one previously unused guest bedroom. Derek is there now, where a futon is kept for potential visitors. It is kept clean and ready to use, but closed off most of the time. A number of items are stored here, including a radio alarm clock and the standard definition television the household used in the 90s and hasn't yet recycled. The room isn't hooked up to cable, and so the only reception is from the rabbit ear antenna and digital converter Terry used before his bedroom got a cable connection.
So this is where, well, you can't watch porn. This is where Derek watches reruns of Seinfeld on broadcast television.
On Fox TV. There is a window in the room, but it is fitted with heavy curtains and can be reasonably sunproof. Stephen uses this room when his sire is visiting. So Stephen's going to be watching reruns of Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Alrighty. And whatever is on PBS at 6 o'clock in the morning when he's trying to fall asleep.
Yeah.
The home office. Here is Steve. Now, I believe this was another option for Ryan.
This was one of the other options that they considered, but they couldn't get in. So
because only Stephen has the key, as we will see here. Stephen's home office contains both his modern bleeding edge computer, by far the newest thing on the estate. The computer has all wireless functions, physically disabled, and has only a wired internet connection and is kept unplugged when not in use. Now, the reason Stephen has a wired connection is because it's more difficult to hack. Correct?
Well, it's not necessarily more difficult, but if it's unwired, most of the time you can't hack in because there's no connection.
No wireless. So right. So it is more difficult.
It is more difficult, yeah. The actual hacking isn't necessarily more difficult, but
it's just less accessible, and therefore
yeah, it's a lot harder to get access to it.
Okay. So Stephen is a big computer guy. He likes computers. Part of his program. He liked biochemistry and computers for some reason. Anyway.
Both.
It takes 8 hours worked to make an intelligence plus computers roll at a difficulty 12 to hack this computer. And Zach did explain to me because in Vampire, as you know, only 10-sided dice are used. How do you have a difficulty of 12? Do you want to explain?
Yeah, every difficulty point you have, it's a difficulty 10 roll, so only 10s count as successes. But for every difficulty over 10, you start with an automatic 1 rolled, so a success.
So that would be a failure.
Yeah.
You have an automatic failure. So for a difficulty 12, you have 2 automatic failures starting out.
So unless you roll at least 3 successes, you still fail, and you're at a much
So if
greater
you're
risk
Jonathan
of botching.
and you come in with no computers or whatever and you try and hack this thing, you're just going to botch. Okay. So the difficulty can be modified with pre-written hacking software. That's the only way you knock the 12 down to a difficulty that you can get in. This will, of course, become more difficult as Stephen gets technothaumaturgy. The room is not equipped for any magical work and is mostly set up for handling any mundane work Stephen needs to perform. The ammo for Stephen's revolver, the shotgun over the mantel, and the handgun in the cloakroom are kept here, as is a fire extinguisher.
Although the shotgun ammo has been moved.
Yes, it has been. And I'm assuming the gun in the cloakroom is loaded.
Yeah, it's loaded, but this is the extra ammo
This
for it.
is the extra ammo for it. Okay. The home office has reinforced walls and a security door. It would have been a far better place for them to stay than Stephen's bedroom. Only Stephen has the key, though, and Ryan couldn't get in. Picking the lock requires an extended dexterity plus security roll, difficulty 7 with 9 successes required, and bashing it down requires an extended strength roll, difficulty 8 with 8 successes required. The room has a window that overlooks the front of the house, but is fitted with heavy curtains and can be sunproofed. Okay, so now we're going back downstairs.
Yep.
We've been on the 3rd floor. We're heading back downstairs to the basement, which the entrance to which is in the utility room.
Yes.
The basement is protected by a steel security door with a keypad lock. This is what Ryan bypassed because he said it would not work. Only Stephen knows the code to this keypad lock. So had Ryan, he came in through the basement, had he chosen to sleep in the basement, Zach would have said he kept the door open. Because had he closed it, he would have never gotten back in.
Yeah.
All right, the keypad can be bypassed with special tools and an extended wits plus computer roll, difficulty 8 with 7 successes necessary, and a botch will short circuit the lock. From inside, the door is fitted with the police bars across the door and has a floor brace, which can be closed in an emergency. This means the door will not open even if the keypad is bypassed. Knocking down the door requires an extended strength, difficulty 9 with 9 successes required. This room in the house is also fitted with a more expensive foam-based fire extinguisher, and a manual fire extinguisher is kept there as well. The alarm system's panic button is located here. It is the last line of defense if the house is attacked. That's why Stephen went there when he was concerned. Ryan chooses the bedroom. The basement is outfitted as a completely modern biochemical laboratory while also having the reagents and equipment for thaumaturgical research as well. The drugs Ryan and now LeBron, I believe his name is, sell are cooked and stored here, and there is always at least a pound of meth on hand at any given time. Note that, because I will be giving that to LeBron soon.
As soon as you get back into the Haven.
Oh my goodness. As well as smaller amounts of LSD and MDMA. Records and other vital documents are kept on the Apple IIe here in the lab. Penetrating the Apple IIe's computer system takes 8 hours work to make an intelligence plus computers roll at a difficulty of 9. Those numbers may be modified with pre-written hacking software, but the age of the computer makes most hacking programs incompatible, which is why Stephen uses the Apple IIe. There is a slab with bars running along either side with handcuffs attached that can be used to bind the hands and feet of an unwilling test subject. This is currently where I have the staked vampire that I have no idea why I
really need to rewatch that prelude.
I seriously need to rewatch that prelude to figure out why that man is staked and handcuffed in my basement. Finally, there is also a ceramic bathtub attached to the sewer system. This note, Brian wanted to put the body in the freezer, but this ceramic bathtub is where we get rid of the bodies. All right. Finally, the basement also has a passage which leads underground to the shed to be used as an emergency escape route. This is how Ryan got into the estate. The tunnel is hidden behind a secret door that can be discovered only with a perception plus investigation roll difficulty 9 with 2 successes required. The tunnel is unlighted. Very important, Ryan could not see. Making it impossible for any character without auspex or protean. Making it impossible to see for any character without auspex or protean. At the end of the tunnel, and I'm very glad Ryan did not find this, at the end of the tunnel there is a go bag and an aluminum ladder which is kept on the floor and can be set up to allow access to the hatch of the floor to the shed. Now, did Ryan have to jump down?
He did. I actually neglected to make him to roll for damage.
A character leaping down from above without using the ladder takes 1 die of bashing damage, which may be soaked in normal. He probably would have soaked it.
He would have definitely soaked it. And in fact, it's not even guaranteed damage. It's 1 die of damage.
Yeah,
so I have to roll. If it's a success, he gets like all of his...
So we'll let that go.
Stamina.
All right, so in the go bag that Ryan did not know was there.
He knew it's there.
He knew it's there, but he did not remember that it was there.
I mean, there's nothing in there that he would have needed.
Yeah,
so.
He would have run off with my $30,000 in cash, all right? So in the go bag is $30,000 in cash.
They're like a bunch. They're just like 1,000 new copies of Majora's Mask in the house, and the go bag is empty.
God. See, he can't remember that this is here because he'll be supplementing his income. All right. There are 3 38 Saturday Night Specials with 4 damage, 15 range, and 5 clips. A box of 35 additional 38 special rounds. Black plastic and tape for sunproofing a room for sleeping. And 3 prepaid burner cell phones. Again, Derek and Jonathan, out of luck. And a pass for a long-term parking garage at the Gary Chicago International Airport where a 2000 Toyota Camry midsize is waiting. The car is kept full of glass. It was bought new, has nearly 0 miles on it, and is serviced every year.
So the final line of defense is basically to grab the go bag, climb up, get through the other end of the property, and then find some way to get to the airport where a car is waiting.
He's waiting, and then we're off.
With guns, money, and cell phones.
Yeah. Okay. All right. But it's only Terry, Stephen, and Ryan that get out.
Technically, the Camry does have 5 seats, so you could squeeze them in, but they don't get guns or phones.
No. They're left behind as meat shields. Come on. So we travel back up the stairs. Through the first floor, through the second floor, through the third floor, up to the attic. The attic is quite small due to the Tudor style's steep roof, which I guess if the other picture comes up here, maybe we can see. See, there's the steep roof, roof right there. And can only be accessed by a pull-down staircase on the 3rd floor. It is mostly used for storage, but since it is the only room, so it's apparently it's mainly used for storage, but Ryan likes to go up there just on his own. I don't know, to masturbate. I don't know. It is only so it's the only place he can go to do work. That's what we call it, not masturbation. It's quote work. Without being disturbed. He could do it in his room. I don't know why. We don't knock on the door. All right, already established.
The attic is his work room. Work is done there.
Yeah, what work does Ryan do?
He does work.
Anyway. And again, to make my point, scattered across the floor are numerous issues of the magazine's Playboy, Guns and Ammo, and High Times. He's up there to masturbate. Come on. He's agoraphobic. He likes the enclosed space. Makes him feel safe. He can relax.
He does work.
and do his air quote work. There are no smoke detectors or sprinklers here, but Ryan's insight has led him to take a fire extinguisher to keep up there. Because he's not smart enough to think of it on his own. Malkov had to tell him.
In case there's a fire up there while he's working.
I guess Malkov gets a little thrill as well since they're all connected, right? Anyway.
I know what thrill you're talking about. He's working.
He's also found a ventilation grate, which can be easily removed to provide a perfect sniper position to observe anyone approaching the house from the street. He has since moved Stevens' scoped Remington Model 700 and all of its ammo up here, again led on by Malkavian insight. So I picture Ryan lying with the rifle out the crate, masturbating. That's how I'm just picturing this.
So very early on, you may remember in the first episode, Steven mentioned that his rifle was missing, and Ryan was like, "Yeah, I got it." So
yes,
this is
after
where it
debating
is.
whether or not he should tell Steven, and then realizing that should Steven not know where his rifle went, he might freak out, and that could be a problem. So yes, he did.
So this is where the weapon is and why.
Yes.
And in the event of an attack, obviously, it's already
should
set
Ryan
up
not be
as
in the
a
midst
sniper
of
post.
should Ryan not be in the
some
midst
work.
of masturbating, he could snipe from this position
And do work.
and do work. Okay, well that is the end of the Higgins estate. It shall be updated as time goes on.
So yeah, that should give you guys a fair idea of where a lot of the adventure so far has been taking place.
So, Stephen used to have an elevator from his bedroom to his laboratory.
Yeah, that was something that was added in the original 1991 version.
Eventually, I may need to get that back.
Yep.
Or the fireman's pole, as we added in the Succubus Club.
Yeah, by the end of the 1991 game, the house was pretty ridiculous. So I cut out a lot of the most ridiculous
Well, and the
stuff.
Succubus Club was really the more ridiculous.
There were a lot of ridiculous things. Anyway, so that is the end of this sort of session of the game. And we will be back next week with Jonathan's solo game. And then after that, it's the start of Act 2. So, we will see you then.